What's happening in South Africa, because in November 2017, shares in the South African company Steinhoff plunged more than 90% after reporting irregularities in its accounts. The household goods company has since offloaded a number of assets to shore up the balance sheet and has been tied up in protracted debt restructuring talks. CEO Louis du Preez spoke to Bloomberg in Cape Town about the scandal.
Major outcry that we've had from stakeholders that we as a company need to ensure that those that are alleged to be responsible for where we find ourselves are brought to book. There's a civil and a enforcement side to that. From a company side, big focus on the civil side. On the enforcement side, we cooperate with regulators to ensure that they can do their job.
Let's cross out to Johannesburg and talk to our South Africa Deputy Bureau Chief, Amo Mbatha. Amo, the Steinhoff situation has really been a burden on a lot of the efforts to clean up some of the corporate transparency problems that the country has.
Exactly. And we're talking about a really big retail giant. Steinhoff, this is a company that has a footprint across the African continent and, of course, in Europe. And, as we said, that this is a company that almost collapsed in 2017 amid an accounting scandal that shaved off 98% of its share value. As the CEO said, a lot of people are looking as to whether the people who were responsible for that accounting scandal will be brought to book and successfully prosecuted. But one thing that the CEO also said when they released results on Tuesday is that he sees the future of the company as purely an investment holding company. However, what is clear is that however they restructure the company, regulators, stakeholders, policymakers will be keeping a very close eye on the accounting practices that are used.
Yes, indeed. It's good to see you this morning, Amo. Steinhoff, of course, was a massive story for the credit market. So let's look at South Africa's credit in general, because it seems like a lot of investors are trading South African bonds as if they are already junk, even though we haven't yet had a downgrade from the likes of Moody's. Why exactly is that happening?
Well, in essence, this all comes down to the perceived risk that the country's cash-strapped power utility, Eskom, potentially holds, in terms of government debt as well as fiscal outlook. Investors are really almost giving South African bonds a bit of a side eye because they're not sure that at the current high yields that are on offer, that at current prices, that it really reflects the risk that they would be taking on. So it seems as though there's already a price in of that potential credit rating downgrade. Moody's just last week came in flagging Eskom again. We know that they will be giving out an official review in November, but it seems as though investors are already pricing it in, and it looks as though the credit ratings downgrade seems to be inevitable. Whether or not the country is prepared for that, we'll have to wait and see. The Reserve Bank has said they've done their scenario planning, so it seems as though investors are really following suit as well.
And what about this trend that phones are replacing bank accounts in Africa? Is that accelerating?
Oh, yes, definitely. I think phones are replacing almost everything globally. But one thing that is true is that, yes, phones do seem to be replacing bank accounts at a rapid pace in sub-Saharan Africa. We know that the region now really accounts for almost half of the world's mobile money accounts. This also speaks to the geographical challenges that some people living in Africa may have. But if you can bank on your phone, at your fingertips, this really is a great growth potential for mobile phone operators like MTN as well as Vodafone. We know that there's potential growth that stretches to Nigeria, the most populous country on the continent, and of course as far as Ethiopia and Egypt, where reforms could add 110 million mobile money accounts in the next 5 years.